Okay, everybody, we are live. And first, before we start, I want everyone to be sure to like, share, and subscribe to the YouTube channel, David P. France TV. And today we're talking with Bambi Deville once
Hey,
again. From New Orleans, how are you, Bambi?
hey, David. It's always great to see you.
Yeah.
I especially like seeing you when you're in New Orleans.
Ah, well, yeah, sure, right. But it seems like it's going to be a while before I'm able to get back. Right.
Yeah.
I mean,
For
what's
why?
tell us what's going on. Give us an update on what, from your perspective of what's happening in Louisiana, New Orleans, and maybe the
Well,
broader country.
I think right now, most people are I'm talking when I say most people, okay. I want to differentiate between what I'm listening, what I hear on the news, what I'm reading, and just the people that I actually come into contact with every day,
Mm-hmm.
by phone or otherwise. But most people are sounding really nervous about what they're perceiving to be the potentially, a stronger wave coming of the virus. And it's interesting because, a few weeks ago, we had a lot of the, Black Lives Matter, and I know y'all had them too, here, and ours in New Orleans were very peaceful, and, we're a very supportive community. And that scared people, and they said, there were spikes, and then everybody it was kind of gotten nervous, but you're seeing people not wearing masks a lot,
Mm-hmm.
and that's making a lot of people nervous. So it's kind of a nobody really knows anything here any more than y'all know there,
Right.
is what I would say.
Jeez. And just so you guys know, Bambi's actually inside her store in the French Quarter. This is the one in the French Quarter. This is not the one on
So
Magazine
this is
Wall.
the larger store. My original store was in the Quarter. It's a long story. Anyway, I have a wonderful little shop in the Quarter, and now I have an upstairs online office for potentially putting everything online, because that's the way people seem to be shopping. But I avoided that for years because I had two boutiques, and it was just like so much fun to just have people come in and meet people and work with
Mm-hmm.
stylists. And I didn't really think about online. And most of the product that I buy directly from people, so I wasn't as involved as online. I had a website that was mostly kind of like introductory
Mm-hmm.
vanity website, and now it's becoming I don't know what. I mean, it's just, I have to do everything online, and it's fun. It's, there's a part of all of this. I think that a lot of us feel that in some ways the change that's occurring,
Mm-hmm.
I feel it's something the universe has just thrust upon us for a reason. And I'm an optimist. So I say, okay, so I'm going to work my butt off and have a new type of business, and same brand, I'm still Bambi Deville. But actually it's like something that maybe potentially is more open to, the worldwide now,
Right.
because
Sure.
I'm on internet. But
Sure.
anyway,
Sure. And,
they're
well,
just working hard.
just so you know, your last video, what's interesting to see is we've done about 23 videos. We've put them on BitChute, which is, some people say, is more conservative site, and also on YouTube. The BitChute videos only record when someone has watched it. They don't tell you how long, right? But we've been doing this since the end of April, and I think you have about 400 some odd views on BitChute, right? So
Okay,
this
don't
could,
make me nervous. I'm feeling like I'm sitting here hanging out with David, and I don't want to think about the fact that 500 people. Oh, did I
yeah,
lose you?
you're
There you
back.
are.
That's fine.
I didn't want to think about the fact that 500 people could possibly be on our little conversation.
Well, I mean, well, this is not to scare you in any way,
No,
but
I'm
it
kidding.
is to support your point, which is maybe this online thing has a velvet lining, right? That
Right.
there are people that are worldwide that appreciate, you know, what you're presenting, and you
Yeah.
never know. Like I haven't had anybody contact me from overseas yet, right? I anticipate that happening at some point, right?
When you
Because once
say
we,
overseas, when you say overseas, do you mean in the States or
or
overseas?
somewhere else other than the United States and Switzerland, right?
Okay.
So somewhere else other than the United States. That's what I'm thinking. Right.
Okay.
Right. So no one's, you know, from, you know, like Asia or whatever. But I would say that you're specifically for you, you have the potential of to go in that route, you know, where people might be in Asia will see and say, oh, you know, do you have
Well,
this or that?
I have had, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, no.
I've had people reach out to me from other countries already. And you know, I know that there's a way to enable your website. Well, I've already got the translator on my website where it can go into French, because someone in Paris had reached out to me about a magazine, video magazine there. So I went ahead and put the French on, because
Mhm.
also it's New Orleans, and I have friends there, and we're doing some stuff back and forth. But gosh, you know, the other thing that I think has been weirdly positive. You know, I went to Japan a few times. I've obsessed. I love Japanese culture. I love Japan. It's such a beautiful country. People can't, I have a huge collection of vintage kimonos, and all my friends who were getting them from Japan, like they buy a few and ship them here, they
Sure.
can't get them. So I have like hundreds of beautiful vintage kimonos that
Mhm.
I've just been, you know, hoarding, and no, none of my friends can get them from Japan. So I've got, like, you know, all these gorgeous, beautiful kimonos that I've been, because I'm a collector, like, you
Right.
know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. Yes, I do. With regard to the project that you talked about the last time with the restaurants,
Yes.
what's update on that? How are the
That's
restaurants doing?
interesting. Okay, this is interesting. This is very interesting, David, because when we did the videos, which was like 3 weeks ago, um, nobody was open, and it was kind of a novelty that you could just go to a restaurant and eat, you know, get your food like at the door
Mhm.
and take it home or whatever. And then recently, a couple of restaurants have opened and you can eat outside.
Okay.
And now they're saying that they're going to start restricting the restaurants again. So it's interesting, because I was thinking, wow, you know, that those videos are still, you know, very relevant, because those restaurants are still not open.
Mm.
So, you know, so yeah, I'll send you those, because it's just something that's happening in our time. And if you feel like you want to keep up with that, you know, if you want, I'll do a little bit more filming in New Orleans for people to see what's going on here. But
Yeah, 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 yeah. Sure,
I don't
sure.
know, that it's a really interesting thing. There's one great place that I've gone to twice that's outdoors.
Hmm.
You know, you go to the counter, you know, you order your food, you pick it up in a paper bag, and you go sit at one of their tables. But it's the ambiance of the patio is nice, and you still feel like you're out, as
Right.
opposed to, you know, a restaurant that doesn't have outdoor dining. I don't know what they're going to really do now,
It's a mess, right? It's a
because
big
they're going to
mess.
close. Our governor, you know, announced that he wasn't going to he was stopping the transition to phase 2 or something like that.
Hmm.
So we're going backwards. And
It's
at the
like,
same time, but
yes.
this is at the same time, we just opened, the first weekend that we opened was last weekend. Now, I'm upstairs all the time, so if anybody's in the neighborhood and they want to see me and shop, I've got, you know, huge inventory upstairs, the shop downstairs. I'll do private appointments, and that
Yeah,
has happened.
yeah.
Michael Fedor, who's the artist in the shop, he's here. He keeps the downstairs open for me, so I can be upstairs working, putting stuff online, right?
Hmm.
So my landlord was out, like, on Wednesday. I could hear him complaining that I wasn't open. And I'm thinking, what planet is he on?
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I mean? Like,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, like, do you not understand that for me, to be working furiously, photographing things, doing photo shoots and getting things online is much more productive than me sitting in an empty shop with no one on the street.
Sure.
Just so I can say to you, I'm trying,
Right,
I'm
right.
open, you
Right,
know,
right.
that's just not the reality of the situation.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Man, I mean, it's a really difficult situation, and as I'm talking to you, I can, I can feel, yeah, I can feel the, the tension, and I only hope that it will resolve itself very quickly.
I know
But
you're saying that, David. Like I said, I'm not trying to be
uh-huh.
pessimistic about this, but when this first started, I watched an interview on, should we be talking about this? Is everyone not depressed enough?
No. We can go. We can go higher after you finish your thought. I'm not gonna. I don't have to keep you in the in the basement. In the cellar.
I know. I know. I want to get up on the clouds, but when I speak to economists, they say, it's going to be a few years.
Really?
So that's what, and I mean, I had a conversation last night with a friend who's an economist, and he said, they really, are expecting this to last a few years because of the domino effect in other areas of what it's affecting, economically, 2 years, maybe economically 2 years.
Mm-hmm. Is there anything else that you see in New Orleans that is a direct hit besides the restaurant, or anything unusual that you see as a result of the situation? In New Orleans, there's a lot of unusual that has occurred.
Well,
right?
The first thing was, the first thing that occurred, of course, was for all of us, and I think I mentioned this in the last interview. It felt like a Hurricane Katrina.
Right.
It's everybody was boarded up because then they said we were getting a hurricane. So it's like everybody boarded up when they closed down because they were afraid of looting. For some reason, and then they boarded up again when we had the Black Lives Matter stuff because of what was happening in other cities, and of course that didn't pan out here, thank God, because we are New Orleans. I want to keep saying that because we're New Orleans, and we're a very special community, and we love each other, and we're very supportive of each other.
Yes. Yes.
So. Yeah, so having empty streets in the French Quarter initially, and now it's weird. It's weird now to have like 12 people out. Like, oh, there's 12 people out in the street.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Well, look, let me
go ahead.
To bring it maybe in a more positive way, right? And not to dwell on this. I did see that you were doing acting, right? You were doing some sort of costume work or whatever. You were.
Okay, well, no, actually, there, like I said, there have been some really interesting turnarounds. I have my background, when I was younger, I did a lot of theater and some film work, and I didn't really love Los Angeles. I was very lonely in Los Angeles. And I came home. I was going to move to New York. I came home to New Orleans, of course, and I was like, oh, I'm not leaving. This is a great city. I'll figure it out here. Oh, I'm home. I'm around my family. I'm home. Okay. I did acting. I still continued to do theater mostly. I was just not interested in pursuing the business. I was interested in creating a business for myself and being self-sufficient and independent, which you are not when you're begging people for work in the film industry. So I was like, okay, that's that part of it. The business part of it wasn't for me. So I would get called by friends to do work here and there who knew my work, and I would produce a few things for myself. Anyway, so recently, some friends of mine were here. They were supposed to be working on a very large budget film in New Orleans. And of course, everything got put on hold.
So they're still in New Orleans. They're still there.
They're still here. And they decided to do their own other film that they had, a smaller project they had wanted to work on, that they can work on, you know, with a green screen and then some location shooting when it's not raining, because we're a little bit in the rainy season.
Yeah.
And that's what they've been doing. And they said, Bambi, you would be perfect for this. I have a little character for you I want you to do. So I went in and I had so much fun, and I'm like, oh, I miss this. I miss like just throwing myself into a character and having fun and just being crazy and on camera, and you know. So I had a really good time, and they were really happy with it, very happy with the work, and so they're talking to me about another contract for another film. So hey, you know, I always say to people who are younger, who are like, they say, oh, Miss Bambi, you know, I'm 25 years old and I really think that I want to get into acting, or I want to get into modeling or singing or whatever. I always say to them, number one, your life begins when you allow it to, but also my example, Danny Aiello, who is one of our most iconic, loved American actors. He's one of many actors, but he was always my example. He started at 40.
Right, sure.
He started at 40.
Yeah.
Nobody knew who he was.
Yeah.
So you know, it's what you create, and your dream and your vision, and what you truly believe you're supposed to be doing, or what you know, what you're kind of aligning yourself with the universe to say, I'm ready for.
Right.
You know.
Well, look, you've used the word universe twice so far in this interview, and I just had one before, and she also used the word universe. So I'm going to ask you, what does that word universe mean to you?
Everything that is possible in terms of aligning your energy with your purpose, your destiny. The universe makes everything possible if you are aligned with it. It's
and
just
yes,
direct energy.
And would you say a lot of problems come as a result of people not being aligned with their purpose, right?
Well, we are our own worst enemies, aren't we?
Yeah.
I mean, I know for me, I can tell you right now, and I will say this with complete confidence and authority.
Yes.
with complete confidence at this age, if I had the beauty and the talent and the passion for doing theater and all of that, and creating characters in my 20s, I didn't have the confidence. I like in my heart, I felt like it was what I was born to do. And, you know, I was always doing the vintage clothing. I mean, I was doing that since I'm a little girl. So I just flipped from one passion to the other, feeling like I had more control over the other. You know?
I understand. I think I'll put it this way, at least for me, with regard to dancing, right? I completely agree with you with in terms of how you saw acting, and I saw dance the same way, that I would not be in control of the situation. There was too much left to chance, but I would say now that I'm much older, I know how to control it, even when I'm not the person controlling the whole situation.
Exactly.
Does that make sense?
And, you know, and you're saying dance, and, you know, there are other creative things that I'm not, you know, like I don't have the talent for, like, you know, you're a great dancer, but I think you would agree with this. And, you know, we're talking about universe and connection, and every actor who understands, and every actor knows what I'm talking about. When you're doing a character, it's a direct channel of the energy of this character that already exists in the universe. You're channeling something. When you're dancing, you must agree that you just are, you know, beyond yourself. I've seen dance. I mean, I know that.
I think you hit something. But let's say in the earlier days,
Yeah.
when there was doubt, and there was a lot of doubt, that's when things happened, even outside of myself, mostly outside of myself. So it would be easy to blame somebody else, and they would probably, you know, come for me, or maybe try to put me in a situation that make me feel insecure, right? But when you
Okay.
have that confidence, right,
Right.
it melts everything else away.
I
So
think it also comes from trust, David.
yeah,
You
trust in
learn to
yourself.
trust.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, I would say, you know, currently, you know, I think I told you this before. I go to a flamenco school in Zurich. I met the guy because he was the drummer at the school I was attending in Basel. And afterwards, he came up to me after he came up and started talking. And I was like, this guy is a flamenco guy. He's talking to me. He's the drum. Like, I'm thinking, So cut
Was he
to a
really
couple of years.
cute? Was he handsome? Was he handsome?
Yeah. Of
I'm
course. I
just
mean,
kidding.
like, I didn't know the deal, right?
I'm
They
kidding.
all tend to have a handsomeness to them. Do you understand what I mean?
Uh-huh.
The entire, you know, uh, expression, right? There is a, and so I found him at a school his wife started, and so now I go there every week, and I'm just as comfortable as can be. I'm
Right.
not thinking about a show, even though we were supposed to be in a show. I'm just, I don't have any concern. I don't care how I look.
Right.
I'm in the flow. So I only go there just to get in the flow,
That energy. I
to
know.
get the
It's
energy. That's right.
it's funny because I think for an actor, that experience
Uh-huh.
comes in rehearsal for
Uh-huh.
me, and is that same kind of thing where you're not worried about performance. You're just enjoying the discovery.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Is it kind of the same thing?
Right. Yeah. I've been just so you know, I've been watching a lot of YouTube, right? And I've been watching Carol Burnett, old Carol Burnett shows.
I
And I realized how good they were together as a team, right? As an ensemble. Like when
100%.
they were
The
amazing. And just,
chemistry.
oh, the chemistry was there. I mean, they would do they did like a Gone with the Wind. They did all those old movies with Betty Davis and um, what's the name? The woman that was Mommy Dearest,
Joan Crawford.
Joan Crawford, right?
Yeah.
And what I like, and I don't know if you do this, I can look at another artist, even if they're not in my, you know, milieu, or, you
Realm.
know, right, realm, and I can actually pull from their performance, even though it might be it might be a comedy, it might be this. It is the way they're directing the energy.
Yeah.
That is what I'm learning. So when I go to flamenco, it helps me to move into the different positions quicker, with more confidence, in knowing there's going to be an outcome. Whereas before I would be, oh, you know, should I hit it really hard or should I go soft or whatever? I don't even worry about it because I surround myself through videos, through people like yourself and the others on the platform, the video platform.
Well,
People are
we're all
thinking in
muses
this
for
way.
each other.
What?
We're all muses for each other.
Yeah, exactly. Right. So I'm a proponent of watching lots of people who are experts, particularly in the arts, at doing what it is that they do. I think that's probably why I would always come, you know, to New Orleans, be like, what's Bambi, what's Bambi up to? Let me go and see what's going on, you know. And same thing for Michael, who's the artist that's there,
Yeah.
right? That's what I get out of it, you know.
Well, and also for you, because you were really, when we met, we were really, I was at that point where I was starting to make that choice of commitment to New Orleans and to my business.
Uh-huh.
So what you really saw that transition in me. And,
Okay.
You did, and you were always commenting on it. I have a wonderful friend, Mario Di Donato, who's an actor and a writer in Los Angeles, and he would see something that, you know, like you did the same thing that I would put out, and he'd be like, "Girl, you know, you keep going with that. That's
Right,
working."
sure.
You
Sure,
know,
yeah,
and
yeah.
it was fun to have people noticing my growth.
Yeah, yeah, look, that's what it's all about. You know, and even in this particular time of pandemic, there is the other side, or the silver lining, which is there's opportunity, right? And I think this is one of the themes that run through all of the videos, right? I don't know if you saw the video of the woman who's the actress, disabled actress.
Yes, I saw that.
Oh my God! I
That
mean,
made me
like,
cry.
oh
It was
yeah,
so
yes,
moving. You know, I mean, it was so moving. And I mean, I do a lot with animals. You know,
mm-hmm,
that's where I direct that energy of wanting to help.
mm-hmm,
You
mm-hmm.
know, but she was lovely, and it was such an inspiring story of having an inner strength
Yeah,
that just nothing.
yeah. I mean, and
Yeah.
I think there's more like her, and you know, I think they're just we're gonna find them. I can already tell. I can already tell this where this is going. Um, I also am going to be talking to a friend of mine who is a director out in Los Angeles. So he's pinging. You may hear some pinging. He's up next. He knew him from New Jersey. He was acting when he was in I think elementary or middle school. Always
Mhm.
acting, but never. That wasn't like people didn't even know he was doing it.
Right.
He was doing it like going to New York on television, but it wasn't like everybody was talking about it, right? They're like, oh yeah, Ed is on television. He ends up going to, you know, going to college in Atlanta, going to DC and working, getting married, divorced, and then moving out to LA. So he's also somebody that didn't go directly to what he was, you know,
Right.
yeah. And now, you know, we're going to have the conversation about that. That should be interesting. So he's working
No,
people.
it is interesting, and it's also interesting, like, you know, how it's a different, you're in a different, when you're not looking for it and you're
Yes.
not chasing it and you're just letting it come to you.
Mm-hmm.
It is, you know, it's just a different dynamic. I'm in that place, like what you're just talking about with what you're discussing with him is like that. I don't know, trying to be, again, optimistic. Why is all this happening to all of us? Because we do all feel like victims. I don't think any of us can help but feel like we're a little victimized by the bigger whatever's going on.
Right.
But the way to take control of it is go, okay,
Right.
okay, so how am I going to land on my feet? And how can I help other people land on their feet? And how can we be a part of the change and make it part of like a greater good? You know,
Mm-hmm.
because we're going through so many changes right now
Yeah.
on
Yeah.
so many levels.
Yeah. Yeah. Well said. Well said. Is there anything else that you want to add before I close? I'm not going to keep you long. I already got you like 30 minutes long, 35 minutes long. But you know,
Um,
anything else that's on
yeah,
your
I know.
mind?
I could talk to you all day. So it's yeah, no, I guess just let's continue to be around for each other. Let's, you know, everyone, let's understand when, you know, when I have somebody call me and say I'm so depressed today, and I say, yeah, I know, you know, it's okay. Like there's a reason you feel depressed, but I want you to go sit down and write down all the things you're grateful for,
Right. Sure.
you know, and focus on that because it's all there still. You
Yeah.
didn't lose those things.
And, you know, there's something to be said about at least going through the trial together, right? And that
Right.
you're not the only one, right? Because in this instance, everyone's getting hit in a variety of ways. At least now, you know, it is, and some people are getting hurt hit
Well,
worse than others, but
I
it's
think
affecting
small
everyone,
business,
right?
no, I mean, there are a lot of people I know people who it hasn't affected their lives at all. Like I
Oh,
know
okay.
people who work online, who were already working online, not doing what I'm doing, like in terms of selling in a website, but
Sure.
maybe are techies and they have their jobs. Maybe they're just working from home instead, but they still have jobs. My sister Christy, who's a chef and is like, manages regional grocery stores, fresh foods kind of thing. Okay. I'm not, in that business, but you know what I mean. And so kind of like Whole Foods kind of thing. They're still working. I mean, they're working overtime because you know what I mean. And the hospital workers they're strained, but there are a lot of people who are still working and have income is what I'm saying.
Right.
And then there's a bunch of us who are just, what are we going to do? We're just going to keep going and pushing. And, I'm sorry. That was like a little depressing to talk about.
Well, you know what? I want to thank you again for making yourself available. I mean, I started doing this stuff online. This came almost, I didn't have to think twice about it. It was, how can I put this? In other words, my life, I probably had been second guessing it
but see what's happening, David, but look at what's happening. Look at what's happening. You wouldn't be doing this if it wasn't for this huge shift.
Well, let's just say this. This had been hovering around for quite some time.
Right.
So that's why when you talk about acting or whatever it is, right? I'm very much empathetic in every way, not just like the obvious way, right? I mean, in ways that you probably, we haven't had a conversation about. I get it. So it's almost like, okay, now I got to do it. Or I didn't even think now I have to do it. It was just done. It was done. And I had been talking to people right before, and I said, we're not having these kinds of conversations that we used to have many years ago, right? Or even the kind like I'd walk into your store and then we'd be talking.
Right. Well, that's what I mean. Yeah.
It doesn't exist. Not here in Switzerland. It doesn't. I mean, not in the same manner, So, it just sort of came, and the skill that I was employing years ago, I still had. Right. So I was like, oh, I'm gonna get the people. I'm gonna get some great people. I already knew.
Yeah,
it was a done deal.
Yeah, great interview.
And I said, I can interview anybody. I can interview somebody on the street. I don't care. I can find the interesting thing about people because I've always been looking.
That's right.
For people and people. So, it's gonna go well. And
you're very easy to talk to, David, so people are comfortable with you. So this is something that may just continue to open up for you.
And it's my hope that it will open up because it's already opened up for other people as well. So people have been swapping emails and calling one another. Let me think about real quick. Something happened. It may have been the Eileen Gruber. Someone wanted for me to interview them, but they were hedging back and forth. And then when I posted her interview, not only did he make a move, like he moved forward, he started posting it and forwarding it to people. And then wanted to somehow figure out a way to get her name out there in a bigger way to the nomination committee. Like he's emailing me, Dave, what are we gonna do to get her name out? I'm like, look, I already have enough. But I mean,
but that's cool.
It's a great thing because
yeah,
this guy was on the fence. You know what I mean? He was on the fence, and I'm like, look, you got to give me a time. You can't just keep going back and forth.
Right.
And he considers himself a writer, and he's taking care of 2 kids and homeschooling them. So who knows, what will trigger people to move toward where they've always known they should be going toward.
Well,
direction.
what I will say like about that is, my father, who, my dad, he's, an antiques dealer, but he's always tells these great stories. And we've been having him write them down now for the last 15 years. We've had him writing down these amazing stories of growing up in New Orleans in the 40s.
Yes.
Anyway, this because he's home and he's not sitting in the shop, he's home, he's actually writing. And I've been coaching him. So how many pages did you write today? So did you finish the outline for that chapter? So again, see, and I keep saying to him, say, Dad, do you understand that this is a blessing?
Yeah.
You have never had this kind of time to commit to your stories.
Right. And I'm sure they're good. I'm sure they're great.
Silver lining,
yes.
That's what they're talking about, the silver lining.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, it's good to focus on the positive.
We got to do it.
It's good to focus on the positive. And with that, I'm not going to keep you any longer. Okay,
I'm not going to keep you any longer.
I appreciate it. I appreciate it, and it's almost like I'm there with you. Not quite.
I know. But that's another silver lining that everybody will, I think, agree to, is we're having more conversations, even if they're on the telephone. Yeah. With friends who normally are working so much, we never have time to really have the long conversations.
That's right.
So,
All right.
David, I love you so much.
Love you too. Have a great Saturday, Sunday, and continue next week, okay?
Thank you. Thank you.
Bye. See you, Michael. Bye.
Bye. Thanks, Dave.